Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be continuing into part 11 of What If Goku Was Born as a Super Saiyan. If you haven't seen part 10, there's a title card where you can go check it out and see what happened in the last part. But we will be going into the Battle of Gods arc. Will Kakarot be enough for Beerus? Is the Super Saiyan God form strong enough? Will Planet Bardock be spared? For those who are interested, I own a Discord server for anyone who wants to join and talk more about Dragon Ball with me and other viewers. Maybe give us some of your own ideas of what ifs, and maybe in the future I could do them. Check the link in the description down below. Today's question of the video is from Blazing A. What is your favorite race in the Dragon Ball franchise? Well, based on my name, it would be the Saiyans, but since that's probably like a basic answer that almost everyone would give, my second one would be the Cerealians, so Granola. His race is actually pretty interesting, especially with the techniques they have and the abilities they're given with. They're a pretty interesting race, and I kind of wish we get to learn more about Granola and his race, maybe in the future of Dragon Ball or anything. But yeah, besides Saiyans, they would be my next pick. Thank you so much, Blazing A, for the comment. And again, guys, if y'all want y'all's comment to be potentially in the next video, just comment down a question you'll like me to answer, and you have the potential for your comment to be in the next video. Anyway, without further ado, let's dive into part 11 of What If Goku Was Born as a Super Saiyan. Beerus would ask Whis about everything that had happened on Planet Vegeta, since he commanded Frieza to destroy the planet. Whis would talk about how there was a Saiyan who was born as a Super Saiyan, and ultimately was the main help for the Saiyans to rebel against Frieza and his family. He would go on to tell them all what had happened with the Saiyans and what they had been up to since then. Whis would also state that he has been keeping an eye on Kakarot for a while, ever since he sensed God Ki forming within him. Hearing this, Beerus gets interested. Whis continues on, saying that he has achieved God Ki when he fought against Majin Buu, and it even gave him a new transformation that may be the Super Saiyan God that Beerus wanted to fight. And that's when Whis decided to wake up Beerus. Beerus gets up excitedly, wanting to see this Saiyan named Kakarot, to see if he would give him the fight that he has been waiting for all this time. And without wasting another second, he and Whis would leave and begin heading out to Planet Bardock to meet the Saiyans. It is a normal day on Planet Bardock, with everyone continuing their training. Raditz led the group to train as they all grew stronger, with Tarbles achieving Super Saiyan 2 and Turles getting more used to Saiyan Prime. Granola has grown a lot, being able to hold his own against a Super Saiyan level threat, and even achieved his full abilities as Cerealian. During all that, Kakarot did venture off to go pick up his son and nephew since they have been away for quite some time. They just focused on training until they suddenly get notified of the arrival of Beerus, the God of Destruction. Most of them aren't too sure who that is, until Raditz and Turles catch them up to speed on who Beerus is, as they all show some fear on their faces. Beerus would show up and Raditz would make everyone kneel to show respect to Beerus. Beerus was pleased to know that the Saiyans still knew how to show respect. He did go on with discussing how he knew how much their race has changed while trying to be better, and he respects that. Raditz offers Beerus to have a celebration, and they could make plenty of food for him, which Beerus wouldn't pass down. They would celebrate with a huge feast, which everyone would enjoy, but it would come down to the time where Beerus would ask for everyone about the Super Saiyan God. Raditz's eyes widened and focused as he grew a bit worried. Raditz would give the news that Kakarot is the Super Saiyan God, and that he is currently away to the Supreme Kai's planet to pick up his son and nephew. Beerus was a bit annoyed about this fact and quickly demanded Whis to bring them to the Supreme Kai's planet. But before they could leave, Raditz would ask Beerus if they could spar, as he wanted to see how he would stand up against someone at his level. Beerus smirks, saying that it would take him less than a minute to take down all of them with just one finger. Hearing that, Turles grew quite furious, as he did not like to be underestimated, as he would charge right at Beerus in his Saiyan Prime form and try his best at attacking Beerus, but no matter what he threw at him, he did not make Beerus flinch, and with one flick of his finger, he sends Turles crashing down, knocked out. Beerus stated that none of them have any God Ki in them, so they did not understand how outclassed they are. Raditz would transform into his Super Saiyan 2 state and try to fight Beerus, but he did even worse than Turles, and not even lasting any longer. Beerus was getting quite bored as it was about to give Whis a command until he felt a little prick at the back of his neck, as he turned over to see that Granola just shot him, aiming for his weak spot. Instantly, Monaitsu ran over to Beerus, apologizing to him as Granola did not mean to shoot him. Under most circumstances, Beerus would be furious and erase him, and destroy the planet, but he was a bit quite surprised that some mortal, not even having any God Ki, was able to land an attack that he felt. He smiles, telling Granola that he is an interesting fighter and maybe he will come back for him later, after he had had his fight with Kakarot. As both Beerus and Whis leaves, we will switch on over to the Supreme Kai's planet, where Kakarot finally arrived and was greeted by his son and nephew. They are glad to see him again and are ready to head home. Kakarot would thank Krillin and Yamcha for training their young fighters, as you can tell they have grown a lot. They will tell him how it was a bit difficult to deal with Jaima, but they did get around to getting close to him. However, he did stick with his ways of training more like a Saiyan, using brute force rather than trying to be a smarter fighter. But he did grow in strength a lot more compared to Bardock Jr. Just before they are preparing to leave, Beerus and Whis would arrive on the planet, and this scares the Kais as they would bow down to Beerus. Everyone else is really confused on what is going on. The Supreme Kai quickly tells the fighters who Beerus is and how powerful he is. Hearing this, Jaima jumps in without any question, wanting to see how strong he has gotten. He transforms into a Super Saiyan state, which shocks Kakarot. Jaima yells out that he is just like his father, being a legend, and he will prove it by taking down Beerus. Preparing a strike right to Beerus' face, but when it lands, nothing happens. Beerus is quite annoyed with all the yelling, as he would grab onto Jaima's tail and spank him, calling him rude. Trunks and Bardock Jr. would jump in, telling him to let go of Jaima, as Beerus would toss Jaima right into the duo and send all three of them crashing down very hurt. This triggers Kakarot, Yamcha, and Krillin, as all three of them would power up and charge right into Beerus. The Supreme Kai tries to warn them, but his wisdom falls on deaf ears. Beerus is not really amused by the human fighters, as he sees them as just obstacles to his true fight, knocking them down with one strike as they both crash into the ground in pain. Now it's just Kakarot and Beerus. Kakarot tries to fight Beerus in his Super Saiyan form, which doesn't do too bad, as it makes Beerus finally power up and use around 15% of his power. But Beerus wanted more and began to push Kakarot further, yelling at him that he wanted the Super Saiyan God, not just some ordinary Super Saiyan. Kakarot accepts his request and powers up into the Super Saiyan God form. But Kakarot is a tad bit worried as he could sense Beerus' power, since he can sense God Ki and Beerus is quite powerful. It isn't sure if his form would be enough. They begin to brawl it out as Kakarot puts up a good fight against Beerus. This fight is much more intense than the one in canon, as Kakarot had God Ki for a bit compared to just obtaining it in the movie. At this point, I would say that Kakarot is definitely stronger than his canon counterpart. Beerus is enjoying the fight, but with him being pushed into the edge and having this be the only good fight he's ever wanted, he wanted more and began pushing Kakarot to go beyond. He would threaten Kakarot that if he doesn't beat him, he will erase his son and his entire race, as he would begin shooting attacks right at Jaima. Kakarot would do his best to protect his son and the others, as the Kais would try to do so as well. But it is hard as Beerus is far too powerful. Beerus just smirks more and more as he begins to be more aggressive in the fight. Kakarot is being backed into a corner as he is getting beaten badly, but he doesn't give up as he knows that he must keep fighting for his race, and knowing that if he loses, they are all dead, and he pushes himself even further, as a huge roar can be heard, and a bright blue light shines the entire planet. Beerus looks over even more excited at his new opponent as Kakarot reaches the Super Saiyan Blue form. The fight continues as with the planet being at risk of being destroyed, Whis makes the fight go up into space. The clashes can be felt all over the universe as Beerus is very excited with this fight, but it angers Kakarot seeing how Beerus is treating this as a joke. Their clash goes on with each hit colliding and creating massive pressure waves. Kakarot would shoot a ki blast right at Beerus, but he would deflect it easily and he would create his death ball and targeting it right at Kakarot, telling him that he better shoot the attack back or the Supreme Kai's planet is going to be destroyed. Kakarot tries his best to hold off the attack, but he begins to fall back more and more onto the planet as he isn't strong enough. He begins to get succumbed by the attack, powering down into his base form, as he thinks it's over and he lost, until he looks over to see a hand by him, and it's Bardock in the Super Saiyan God form. Bardock will remind Kakarot of who he is and what their race stands for. They are warriors and won't give up until they use every ounce of power they have. This got into Kakarot's head, as this gave him a boost in power as he powers up into his Super Saiyan form and begins pushing the attack back, and manages to combust the attack. He wasn't sure if Bardock was actually there or was it just in his head, but he thanked his father for giving him that push as he needed as he charged right back into the fight with Beerus. Beerus was pretty impressed with this Saiyan, for not only just dispersing his attack, but also still putting up an amazing fight without using the God forms. Kakarot is giving it his all, trying his best to take down Beerus, but the longer they fight, Beerus can tell that Kakarot was running on fumes and decided to end the match. Kakarot was confused as he didn't give up yet, but Beerus just laughed, saying he only threatened him so that he could go all out on him and give him a good match. He tells Kakarot that he is the strongest person he has ever fought and made him use all of his power, which isn't true. He used around 80% of his power in this fight. Kakarot is glad as he powers down into his base form as Beerus would catch him. They would go back to the planet and they would be worried since Kakarot lost, but Beerus told him not to worry as he isn't going to destroy anyone, as he only wanted a good fight. He commended them on trying to fight him, but they have a long way to go until it become a good fight for him. Beerus would offer a ride back to Planet Bardock to both Bardock Jr. and Jaima, as he wanted to return back to the planet and offer them something extraordinary. Quickly, they would join Beerus and Whis as they would travel off back to Planet Bardock. Once they arrived, Beerus would have a meeting with the main group and explain how he wanted to train some of them, as he would like to have more fighters that could push him. Beerus offered to bring Kakarot and Granola as he is very interested in them. Raditz did state how Vegeta and Broly would be perfect, but they are currently training under someone named Miras. And Whis would laugh, saying that they are in perfectly fine hands, where they are now, so no need to worry about them. Raditz would like to go, but worries that his duties of being king would get in the way, but Whis tells him not to worry as they could bring him back fast. Turles would like to join, but knows that someone would have to stay here, so he and Raditz would take turns. With all that settled, they would begin traveling to Beerus' planet. Jaima would be a bit upset not being invited to join, so he would continue his training trying to grow as much as possible, so he too can join his father with training with the gods. We would have a quick look at what is going on with Broly and Vegeta, as they are currently in a time chamber with Mirrors, as they are training vigorously for the last few months. Mirrors has been a great help for Broly on maintaining control with his power, as he can transform into a Super Saiyan without losing control, and being able to use his strength to grow more powerful as he fights on. Vegeta was growing as he perfected the Saiyan Prime form, but he wanted more. Mirrors saw that Vegeta over time started to be more calm, and thought now it could be a good time to teach him a technique that could put him on par with the gods. We would go back to the three as they began their training with Beerus on his planet, and it's not easy. At least for the two who aren't Kakarot. Raditz had to learn how to sense God Ki, and Granola needed to catch up in strength as he was far behind. Most of the training for Kakarot seemed average to him, but extremely difficult for the other two. But with time they would catch up in both being able to sense God Ki. Raditz did achieve the Super Saiyan God form on his own, and would be thrilled, but he has been gone away for some months and would like to switch places with Turles, so he can have his time training with the gods. Everyone was growing stronger. Kakarot even had more matches with Beerus, and Beerus quickly grew a liking to Kakarot. And seeing his destructive potential, he took interest in him, showing him a power that he could achieve if he trained long enough, as their clash would continue. One day during everyone's training, two people would show up on the planet, as everyone is caught off guard, as it looked like Whis and Beerus. Beerus is pretty angry, but introduces them to his brother Champa and Whis' sister Vados. Beerus and Champa would argue over who is better, and begin to try to fight each other, but both their angels would hold them back, saying that they cannot do this as they would get in trouble. They began to think about a way they could settle this, as Turles would jump in saying that they should have fighters from their universe to fight to represent them, and whoever wins between the fighters should be crowned the better, stronger universe. They both liked the idea and made the rules that each of them have to come up with a group of 5 fighters to fight in a tournament, and whoever wins would also have the collection of the Super Dragon Balls between their universes. Beerus would want to come up with a team, as he already has 3 people, but would wonder who his last 2 should be. Back on Planet Bardock, things would be as normal, as Raditz would continue on his kingly duties, and even have some training sessions with Tarbles, Jaima, and Bardock Jr. During a training session, stars flew over the planet, and everyone was interested in them. But one of those stars was in fact a small spaceship, as it landed on the planet secretly. Once the ship opens, a small gray slimy creature appears out of it, having an evil laugh, and saying that he will have revenge for his race against the filthy Saiyans, calling himself Baby, and from the planet Tuffle. And that's where we're going to leave it off for now. Tell me how you think about the 11th part and how I did with the Battle of Gods arc. Who will be the 5 fighters to participate in the tournament? Will Universe 6 have any chance with this impressive stronger Universe 7? And what is this new being that just landed on Planet Bardock? What could have happened differently? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. If y'all are interested and enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post another part. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next part. See ya!